know, Bond students have been in every Olympic since '92. How do they...
Welcome to round 13 of the Bond University QAFLW. We're here at Jack Esplin Oval in Morningside to watch Morningside take on Moreton Bay.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Daniel Viles with you here. Hannah Davies, as we're a little bit rushed, but it was Jess Davey from Moreton Bay who had the first inside 50. This is Pride Round. We will be sprinkling a rainbowic amount of, that's not really a number, mentions of that during the day. Thank you to Jared Corporate for their support of this round. Moreton Bay will turn it over to Rasheen Chu out on the right wing. Picked up by Davey. She was tackled strongly by Simone Arthur. And Morningside with a bit of control up towards the 50. Well taken. I can't believe that wasn't paid to Ebony Otto. She's recovering well after having just a small gripe. Izzy Levine had her kick charged down. Morningside working hard through Ali Blyton. Turned over. A bit of a scuffed kick outside of the 50. Chu on the outside playing with Blyton in the number 8 today, normally the 28. Beat everyone. Went outside by Ainsley Knight. Kicked through by Greta Lilcock. First score of the game, just a minor. Good afternoon, Hannah.
Good afternoon. Yeah, sorry, it was a bit of a rush start, wasn't it? But as we said, it is Pride Round, a fantastic occasion every season. We get to see each team don the rainbow stripes. It is, of course, a celebration of the inclusion of the LGBTQIA+ community in this game. And we'll keep talking about that while there is an injury going on in the middle of the field. It's happened away from the ball. I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact or potentially a player just moved poorly there.
Yeah, we're only guessing, aren't we? Because I was certainly watching the ball. That's why they pay me.
Yeah, and it's a Moreton Bay player as well. So not the start they'd want. They'd obviously come into this one as the underdogs. Morningside, well, aside from Southport, they've really been leading this competition. First year in the competition as well. Doesn't get really much better than that, other than if they were, of course, to defeat Southport. They haven't played them all year either, so they haven't really had too many major tests.
More on that in a moment, but just trying to identify the injured player. Is it Otto? I hope not. I mean, don't wish an injury on anyone. But Moreton Bay came into this game with 21 players in their squad injured. It's gone up to 22 within 2 minutes of the game starting. 16 of those players have played seniors this year.
Well, it makes a big difference, doesn't it, really? I mean, Morningside have had one of the more relatively unchanged teams this season, and it really does show on the field. And I think it really, well, assuming injury doesn't strike, we obviously never hope for that, it really should set them in good strides for come finals.
So play underway. See if we can get more news on injured player later. So that's Otto, who kicks it out on the full, just didn't get the radar right. I thought it might have been Grace Pearson-Smith. I thought I saw an 11 on the jersey of the injured player. Try to keep an eye out as Lucy McCormick, whose number is difficult to read, but her headgear is not. Back inside 50. Was well cleaned up at the back by Kaya Thompson. Just had it knocked out of her reach. Bailey Woolett, sorry, not Bailey Woolett, had it knocked over her head. That was Hersey. And a strong tackle on Petrides. Teresa Dixon playing her 50th game for Morningside today. Got the banner treatment on the way through, plus the rainbow arch made of balloons.
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? It's always a special moment getting to have the rainbow balloon banner to run through each Pride round.
Petrides out the back, snaps at goal, making a run on here, and Zoe Petrides has her 7th goal in just her 4th game in the Bond University QAFLW.
Only took just over 4 minutes for Morningside to get on the scoreboard. Look, we last saw these two teams play against each other back in round 1, Daniel, and it was a relatively even affair. I think there was only maybe 13 points roughly the difference. But I think this time, you know, we've seen each side evolve over the season. There's no chance, I don't think, for finals for Moreton Bay, but there is a real chance that they could shake something up here and prove something to themselves ahead of next season.
That's exactly right. I think if they lose today, then they're mathematically out of the race, but that's not been their aim this season. 13 teenagers in the side today. It's a very, very young side as Morningside get the clearance out of the middle, just trying to make some space for themselves right of centre. Good work from Gracie Roy in the number 17 Guernsey. Had an excellent season. The charge down is strong. Moreton Bay very congested in the middle of the field, just trying to make sure there's no way through. On this occasion, they're not able to maintain discipline and give the free kick away to Rasheen Chu. Weird seeing Rasheen Chu without strapping around her head. She rocking the wall look against Cooperoo in the first war of Wynnum Road.
Good option there from Morningside to attempt to switch it out, although we've had a push in the back here. But I like that they were a bit bold going down the corridor, but it was nice to see a few angles here early.
Stella Scott gets it to Laura Roy, takes the mark at centre half forward. We know she's got a long range. She'll back herself in.
And honestly, that was due to that angle because, again, like it's super dangerous just going straight down the corridor. It's predictable. So I love that they switched it out, moved it back in. Same result, if not better.
Since the weather got dry, Morningside have been a lot more expansive. Laura Roy, she'll shoot from about 45. It seems to be well off line, just the minor score. But on top early, umpires, Hannah.
Yes, the umpires today, as always, brought to you by Bradnam's Windows and Doors. On the field, we've got Bray Agnew and Samson Bament. On the boundary, Lachlan Hammer and Oliver Truloff. And for the goal, it's Harry Clarkson and James Gray. And our umpires, of course, well, they haven't missed out on Pride Round. Fantastic to see them with the rainbow socks as well.
And the flags, I believe.
And the flags, yeah. Oh, I love the rainbow flags.
Georgia Lewin's just come onto the field as a ruck rotation for Teresa Dixon. Takes an intercept mark straight away. Finds Laura Roy. Saw there was a bit of a gap behind Davey. Went deep. The mark is dropped by Bellinger. Able to be cleaned up by Woollett. Not quite connecting to get outside of 50. Some strong work. Just not quite able to finish the job. Howard's kick charged down. A couple of jersey number changes for Moreton Bay I didn't have, so apologies for the silence. Or maybe you're welcome for the silence, depending on your opinion on commentary. Charged onto by Kelly. Good underground handball, but swept upon by Gracie Roy. Spotted McCormick in the middle of the field. Scored her only goal in this comp in Pride Round last year. Shoots from about 52. Well offline. Beautifully chased by Hewitt. Hewitt turns the defender inside out. Gets the handball away to Knight. Has a second opportunity. Back inside to win Stanley. They're working across. Knight. She's a natural left footer. And that... It's actually not a bad kick with a right foot, minor score.
Yeah, look, not the result they wanted, but I loved the teamwork there from Morningside. Just to get it on the hands, keep bringing it round. They didn't panic either. And, yeah, it wasn't the result in the end, but I think they've given themselves the best shot so far. Moreton Bay, though, really yet to see any control in this game so far. See how they can go on this kick out.
Well, that was controlled, so well coached, Hannah.
I won't take credit for that.
No, you should. You should. Brian Taylor would. So Woollett plays it because you should totally do what he does in the commentary box. Turned over to win Stanley. Just a little dinky kick inside. Well challenged by Emerson Brady. Tried to get it away from Roy. Roy shoots from about 45. Laura Roy. Long range on Pride Day.
Yeah, Laura Roy, already her ability to run through when she handles that ball is just so electric. The speed off the mark there she's got.
Probably one of the things she was lacking at junior level was she, always had the skills, but maybe didn't have the pace. She's gotten a bit fitter. She's, probably taking her footy a bit more seriously. And, you've just described the results perfectly.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is knowing when to turn that on and when to take your time. And I think that that's probably been the best improvement, is her knowledge of when to take it slow and steady and calm. But then, as we said, when you're that fast, why wouldn't you keep going?
When you've got a left foot, a what? That's a foot and a boot together, is a left boot, apparently. Wrapped up now. Let's try that again, Daniel. When you've got a left boot that can kick that far. Didn't go to air, right? Wrapped up in the middle of the pack was Lyndall Thompson on debut. First year of footy for Lyndall Thompson, and her QAFLW debut today. A school teacher up north, and one of her students umpired the seniors game last week for Moreton Bay. Walled it across to O'Connor. She's probably taken over leadership of the Moreton Bay backline since the injury to Talia Smith. Just unable to be controlled over the boundary by Laura Irvin. But yes, in a pre-season game, they weren't quite sure what to do with her, so they threw her in the ruck, and that works. We'll try that. And she's been dominant in reserve grade, I'm told. Dixon. Brady doing well. Levine is wrapped up strongly. Izzy Levine is a known quantity now, and Laura Irvin gives away the free kick, but you can see the intent. Levine heads towards the goal square. Lewin not able to reel in the mark. Had a couple of goes at it. The pack swarms. Gets the handball away. Petrides again looking for space. Handballs back to Lilcock. Off the outside of the boot. Boundary throw-in, I think. If you're going to miss, make it slightly weak so you get the throw-in.
Yeah, it's very true. There's been a couple times now, Morningside early on, just putting themselves in the absolute best position, but just not able to finish it off. It'll be very interesting to see from a coaching perspective, what they do today, because they are only a few weeks out from taking on, what will be undoubtedly their biggest competitor this season, which is Southport.
I have a theory on that. Does that shock you?
No, not at all.
Semi-clearance, just bounces unkindly for O'Connor, and she did very well to adjust. Kelly brought down hard. Strong tackle, I think, from Lilcock. It's Hewitt, rather. Yeah,
this dominance inside 50 from Morningside is just sensational. To have your forwards and your mids delivering tackles like that as well.
So Georgia Hewitt looks like she's going to take responsibility for the shot, which is the right thing to do. Just misses to the left. But no, I think the increased amount of handballing that we're seeing from Morningside today, the way that they are changing the angles and using the lines, they know that just corridor football is not going to be enough against the top sides, even though it might get the job done today. Kick out just lands inside the 50. O'Connor working hard in defence. Nearly got it through to Johnson. Mahalia Johnson had a whale of a game against Yeronga on the live stream a few weeks ago. Ball up just inside the 50. Thompson doing well against Dixon. And got a kick away in the middle as well. The other debutante in Indiana Marshall in the 51 for Moreton Bay getting her first touch. But suddenly it's Knight inside the Petrides. Just got enough room. Had to be quick and gets the boundary throw in.
Again, another one of those results where it's missed, but they've actually ended up with probably a better result with the throw-in.
I'm not going to say that's not Damien Richards' plan. He's smarter than me.
If you're going to miss well.
Yeah, commit to the miss. Plenty of maroon jumpers around the ball. Just being turned in circles was Millie Reeves. Not able to dispose in time. Woollett taking her turn in the ruck. Out the side, Petrides lurking. Well spun by, I think, Otto. Lewin throwing her strength around. Knight went for a snap from an impossible position. Out on the full. Let's talk about Ainsley Knight for a second. First of all, from South Australia, kicked 57 goals in a season a couple of years ago, but she has also represented Australia at indoor cricket.
Yeah, wow. multi-skilled athlete. We have quite a few of those in this competition, don't we?
And it's fantastic to see. There's stories everywhere as Knight was tackled with no space to move. And the Moreton Bay defence, they are tackling strongly. Even there was no space to work in. It's the clearing that's the problem. Gracie Roy chasing it. Again, just able to dispose in time was Otto. And then run out of play by Charis Tar, who confused me by not wearing her usual plait. She's rocking the very frizzy pigtails today. And yes, me talking about hair is ironic these days. Dixon knocked it down. It was Tamaroo in the 30 jersey who had initially. Falls to Woolett, and she's tackled from underneath by Ali Blyton. Knocked ahead by Levine. Woolett's been working hard in defence. Got it back to Rue. Went back into the corridor. Maybe a bit dangerous. Talia Benson's come a long way back to help out the defence. And her interjection was important there.
Certainly getting the numbers around the ball, Moreton Bay. It's just more so what they're doing with it. It looks a little bit like a bit of a kick and hope, if I'm honest.
Yeah, Rue
just not the same precision that Morningside are delivering right now.
Which is sort of the pressure on the pressure. Gracie Roy weighted that kick perfectly. One target slipped over, so when Stanley said, don't worry, I've got it. Kicks to right half forward into a pack of Lions. Well worked at the back by Page. Knocked it into space. Petrides outside of the boot. Oh! What did Bellinger do there? Was that on its way through and Bellinger knocked it away?
I think she potentially just wasn't sure whether to let it bounce through or take it in her own hands and seal it, but yeah, just ran it through. That's very unfortunate. I know she'll be kicking herself for that.
I reckon Bellinger might owe Petrides a lemonade after the match. Petrides is 16.
Okay.
Free kick to Morningside. About 55 from goal. Petrides retreated well towards the centre. The height of Gracie Roy. She's been awarded the mark, and rightly so. I think Ella Slater thought she got a piece of it. Roy kicks from 48, well offline. Lucy doesn't need to do anything about that one. Sorry, Lucy.
So it's just hit the post there.
And it was on the bounce, so boundary throwing. The ball's been camped in Morningside's forward 50 for the last 6 or 7 minutes at least. Well done by Thompson to clear. McCormick looking for space. Taken on 2 or 3. The handball was a little too strong. Woolett looking for Davey. Was knocked back into the path of the Morningside attackers. And just off the to the left from Laura Roy.
Again, like Moreton Bay defensively are having a really hard crack at it. And they're certainly getting hands on the ball. I think it's just the positioning. Potentially even just sitting a little bit too close to each other.
Well, that works in defence, but not for clearances. Is going flying with Shauna Kelly in the 27 at the back. Floating kick inside 50. Maybe just a couple of defenders not committing to the mark. Again, getting it outside. Dixon bringing it to ground. In fact, that was Bell, apologies. Chu. Wrapped up well by Tar. There's a Chewy Tar joke in there somewhere, but I'm going to leave it. No one will ever know. Laura Roy, beautiful work off the ruck. Kicks from about 48, wide on the left. The mark is dropped. The goal will be scored. Tori Winstanley finishes the job. No Lucy Bellinger in sight.
Poor Lucy. We do love you, Lucy.
We do.
Give it another quarter and she'll be kicking 3 goals of her own.
No, one of the stars of the win against Cooperoo, of course, a few months ago. But, I mean, Winstanley's goal, she deserved it. She finished it off. Laura Roy's work to time her run, charging through the ruck. Just to pick up on your point about Moreton Bay, they have congested their defence, which is very good for stopping the attack, but it's not all that good for playing out. So Roy thought, well, if I'm going to get through this, I may need to do it brick wall style, and did so magnificently.
Yeah, she's certainly dominating this match so far. I mean, 24-0 in 1 quarter.
Lewin somehow conspires to ruck to herself. Davey not able to hold on. Lilcock through the middle. Check side kick inside 50. Woollett appears to have it under control. Bellinger finds a gap. Woollett recovers. Just slipping up over the shoulder. I thought may have been unlucky not to get a free kick. The kick comes in. I believe that's Mackenzie Sleep on the left foot. She gets Morningside's fourth. It's all black, white and rainbow so far.
It is, and even Morningside, I mean, we're speaking about their dominance in the 50, but their ability to bring it in there so fast is just what makes them such a threat.
And again, from the ruck contest, they just happened to go corridor initially because that's the way the ball fell. And then as soon as they got the chance to use some width and get the ball away from Bailey Woollett, who was doing a wonderful job, almost one woman at one stage.
Yeah, I think that'll be the thing, though, for Morningside today is that, you know, given the scoreline already, they'll need to prove that they have got other tactics. They, you know, won't just rely
on Laura Roy doing that.
On Laura Roy doing that. We know it looks good.
Sleep again. This time to the right.
So if you're Moreton Bay, though, you know, do they start to push a little bit more defensively already?
Well, I think they have. We've seen, I mean, at the moment, there's only one player, that's Lyndall Thompson, who's in front of halfway. We've seen forwards like Talia Benson drop a long way back to help out in defence. And I think the idea is if you have some players congested and some wide, that's probably the best way of just holding the Storm at bay. Of course, it also helps if your clearing kicks don't go straight to Laura Roy 48 metres out. Spots a target in the pocket, just goes over the head of Petrides, and the boundary line should win this. Yeah, there's a time to switch lanes, and generally across the face of goal directly to an opponent is not it. No, I don't have a coaching course. Bellinger is well held by Ella Slater, another who was named at full forward and has now gone back to help out where the grunt work needs to be done. It's knocked out of bounds by Howard.
So he would have had held time just while that player was injured before. So this quarter's a little bit longer than usual.
And of course, if it was Pearson Smith who went off before, then that's a key forward that they've lost. And I must confess, I haven't seen her since. Levine off the left foot. Good work in defence. And that was initially from Laura Irvin. Trying to clear wide. Didn't quite work the way they wanted. Lilcock with a check side kick. Fell through the hands of Roy. Davey tries to clear. Almost ended up as a drop kick. Charis Tarr defending well, but it's come back to Lilcock. Chips into the pocket. Woollett not able to hold on. Get it out wide. If you're going to do a dump kick, that's the way to do it, as quarter time sounds.
Well, what a first quarter dominance by Morningside. 13-0 they lead. Let's see if Moreton Bay, still plenty left in the tank in this one. Let's see what they can do for the second quarter shortly.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Welcome back to Jack Esplin Oval. We're here for round 13 of the Bond University QAFLW, the Morningside Panthers taking on the Moreton Bay Lions, who are yet to really find their rhythm yet in this one. A dominant performance from Morningside. They're just a much more experienced side, and I think it's pretty evident out there right now. But there is still, you know, a lot of little silver linings out there for the Lions, Daniel. We were chatting about Bailey Woolett and her work defensively. You know, they're actually getting a lot of ball in hand. It's just what they're doing with it, and I think they're linking as well to bring it out of the defensive 50.
I think a lot of players coming up from juniors, 13 teenagers, I think I've already said today, but there are a lot of young players, as young as 16 in this Lions side. And what can happen, part of the step is knowing to trust your other defenders when you're in a back five. So rather than just going to where the ball's going, you go, Bailey's got that one, I need to be ready for the next pass. Or you're blocking players and sort of running lines to make sure that other players can't get to Bailey so she can get a decent disposal away. They're probably a couple of years away from that. Shane Dawes has had 7 days to work it out.
Yeah, and look, you were telling me, like, they're a team of teenagers, a lot of them, and that will be very, very handy for them in a couple of years' time. Morningside as well, I think it's very clear that they are approaching finals time and they have a clear message out there. I mean, regardless of the scoreline, like, they'll be out here to take this win, but do it strategically as well.
Quarter time as Izzy Levine was pushed into the ground. Emerson Brady giving away the free kick, but I don't think her teammates and coaches will mind the intent. Levine, the breakout star in this competition this year. Petrides, balletic just outside the 50. Arguably a breakout star of the second half of the season. Had commitments with the Lions Academy and Queensland under-18s. Goes towards the pocket. Laura Roy had her arms pinned. She'll get the set shot. Laura Roy can make her own chances. You don't need to give them to her as well.
She can. I tell you what, though, I feel like she was only held in the slightest. I thought the defender actually did a really great job there to disrupt that, but ump's way closer than I am.
So Laura Roy has won, a couple of minors as well, and she'll be disappointed. In fact, she is disappointed.
She is disappointed.
How would you describe that post-kick head movement, Hannah Davies?
Oh, I think the hands went up and went down. Could see that on the replay.
So Moreton Bay with a chance to string a few passes together. Good run by, I think, Page out of defence. Davey came from a long way back. Brady first to the ball, tried to knock it into space. Couldn't quite get the hands around it. Good handball from Tar to Brady. Davey using her space to get away from Roy. That's how you attack. Into a one-on-two contest. Found the one. Unable to hit the mark. Moreton Bay showing good signs. Gracie Roy on the counter-attack. Davey will sweep. Ducks inside one tackle. Gets the handball to Brady. And then kicks it away to Stella Scott.
Got to commend Jess Davey. I think she's trying to do the work of 3 or 4 players out there right now. And you do need, you need your leaders to lift, so.
And I'm still not entirely convinced she's fully fit. She was injured quite a few weeks ago as Southport go inside 50 through Knight. The handball over the top goes to Sleep. Sleep already has 1. Sleep has 2. What was that, 3 passes? Knight got it in the middle of the field.
It was very, very slick.
Just back to Jess Davey, there was a time in sort of the middle rounds where she was playing at half forward and just sort of interjecting into the midfield every so often, because that's all she could handle. I forget which where the injury was, forgive me. But I think there, when she can make an impact, I mean, we saw in 2024 just how brilliant she can be. Not just dangerous, but stylishly brilliant.
Yeah, look, there's not many players really on a team where you'd say, we'll just get it to her and she'll do something pretty sensational with it, but I definitely think Jess is one of those. Definitely looks like she's playing that on-ball role a little bit more this game.
At least in the second quarter. Levine picks that off. Got that. There's a whistle. Held off the ball. So Moreton Bay umpire spotted the reason why there was so much space for Simone Arthur to run through. Brady, Rising Star nomination a few weeks ago. Got it inside 50, it trickled. Chu going back, being tracked by Marshall. Slightly dangerous handball. Gracie Roy and Rasheen Chu working in tandem. Get it out wide to Hennessy. And that's the kind of spacing and trusting your teammate that the experienced sides will do. Davey kicking in danger. I don't think she meant to, but it was right near the hands of Stella Scott. Just ran into a bit of danger. Kick to an outnumbered contest, and Moreton Bay have made it work through Marshall. Pressure on the kick. Contact below the knees. So the effort from Moreton Bay is picked up. And I think a coach should wear errors in a situation like this to say, okay, as long as the intent's there, you can make a few mistakes.
I definitely agree. I think in that first quarter, it just looked like Moreton Bay lacked a bit of that spark and energy. But I would agree. I definitely think it's picked up already. Morningside, though, what a great switch there. So clinical.
So Chu through to Arthur. The handball's a little bit over the top of Bellinger. Uses her body well. Brought to ground by Reeves. So once again, turning defence into attack in about 4 or 5 passes with the Morningside Panthers. Petrides following through. Got the snap. We're becoming familiar with the Petrides snap. Goes across the face. Knight and Laura Roy chasing. Didn't get a lot of protection, Roy. Good one-handed pick-up from Page in defence. Tried to get it to Davey. Howard, who may be one of the captains this game. More on that in a second. Arthur brought to ground by Davey. Yes, Courtney McDonald currently working in the United States following the Opals around.
Yes,
and
of course.
But I do owe Courtney an apology. A couple of weeks ago, she brought up her 100th QAFLW game. It was in a loss, the only loss of the season, as Davey just works beautifully out of the middle, gets it past McCormick. O'Keefe is in pursuit. But yes, that would mean that Lilcock and Howard would be co-captains today. Strong tackle, just failing to yield a result. To a one-on-one contest. Davey got front position. Laura Roy. Levine. Apologies, wrong ribbon. Comes out wide to Irvin. Recovered well. Trying to get away from Arthur. Did so. Page. She has a long kick. It's an even-numbered contest. Just went over the back and a bit of physicality from Morningside won the day. Sweeping around the outside was Tar. Unable to maintain possession. Run over the boundary by Gracie Roy.
I'm not sure if this is the intention here, but I don't mind Morningside's tactic of when they do get hands on ball to put as much distance between themselves and Morningside's 50. I think they've got a much better chance in something like this, the one-on-ones, than they do when it enters that 50 because Morningside are so effective within that.
Good observation. Through the middle to Scott. The handball just went behind Lilcock. And well cut off at the back. A superb work from Otto. Following up, Knight. Knight had a Thompson on her back. Wins Stanley. That kick is not where it was meant to go. Just goes past Fox Chafer. Got herself into a one-on-one with Laura Roy. And probably on as even. Scott chips it inside 50. Bellinger nearly took it one-handed. Trying to step around Brady. Brady stayed with her.
Yeah, Bellinger, just no support there. That feels very unusual for Morningside.
Being knocked forward on the outside by Hewitt. Morningside get numbers around the ball through Williams, who I think for a little while there was fake punching, and then suddenly had no one around her and she was still fake punching.
You know how I feel about the fake punch.
Oh, we love a fake punch. There's a YouTube video. Great fake punches at the QAFLW 2025. Lilcock, not the best handball to Arthur. Arthur, that's beautiful. Arthur is one of the physically strongest players in the competition. And Hunter Hersey has managed to win a free kick for holding from her. That's an effort.
They've got a few players free here. It's not quite the one-on-one this game that you'd normally see. Both teams playing with a bit more space, but Morningside just dominating it.
They're probably a bit faster. They're certainly a lot taller. I reckon Morningside would be on average the tallest team in this competition. Even their wingers are approaching 6 foot. As the free kick goes to Lilcock on the Riding Road side of the ground. Saw the loose player in the middle. And Gracie Roy is an expert at working her way into space and then using it. Not quite the accurate kick she wanted, but all's well that ends well. As it comes to Scott. Again goes wide to Howard. Has Winstanley directly ahead. Not entirely sure that was the plan. Was looking for, I think, Bellinger just coming across with half forward. Thought it was a different sport there. Take the tap was the call from downstairs, and my mind went straight to rugby league.
Can't say I watch enough rugby league to even know what that would mean.
Okay, I know which side my bread's buttered. It's all Aussie rules today. Holding the ball, second time, and this time it's Lyndall Thompson, the oxymoronic veteran debutante.
Great offload there from Moreton Bay.
As Otto pumped it forward, I agree.
But a
McCormick.
4v1, look at this, the numbers for Morningside.
McCormick floats the kick into no woman's land. Well picked up by Knight. The handballing across was wonderful. Not quite the kick that Blyton wanted. Winstanley chasing. Trying to knock it forward to herself. Was just able to get away from the defender and then wasn't. And beautiful shutdown work from Laura Irvin, who's been excellent in defence several times today. As the umpire tries to convince a couple of people to come over for a ball up. Dixon wins. Levine back to Dixon. Looking for space. Arthur with the hook. Knight is LBW. And then brought to ground is Hewitt. And another free kick for holding. No, it has to come behind the mark. I like the intent of Millie Reeves, but for that kind of free kick, you've got to go behind the mark.
Good control from the umpires, though. Sometimes these games can be even more difficult to officiate because of how physical they can get.
Good call. Holding off the ball. And so Moreton Bay getting a run of free kicks at the moment. Johnson. Finds a teammate wide in Irvin. The 1-2 picks out Fox Chafer. Right, the umpiring's quite vocal at the moment. Finds Otto in the middle of the field. Runs around Lilcock. Long kick from Otto. The two number 5s, Benson and McCormick, will see that over the boundary. Was there a hand? No, so that's a lasso. I don't think it's possible to reword the law to accommodate this, but to me, that's not what the lasso was made for. It's a shame that that's called a lasso as opposed to what the law's designed to stop. McCormick keeps it on Riding Road. Bit of friendly fire between Dixon and a teammate. Moving it forward. The handball's not quite precise. Blyton found a bit of space. Managed to get one of her long legs to the ball. Levine. Cross looking for Chu. Chu flew. Didn't come to the number 2. Otto clears in the 2-0. Comes off the knees of Marshall. Difficult ball to pick up. Nearly turned over twice. And eventually cleared by O'Connor. Sometimes you need a no-nonsense person to just go, look, I've had enough of this. McCormick back through the corridor. Again, just over the head of Chu. Who makes up for it with a tackle to bring play to a halt.
Moreton Bay is certainly doing better to slow down the work of Morningside. Felt like they were really let free in that first term, but it's certainly congested in a positive way for Moreton Bay this time.
It's congested here, but what I find interesting overall is this has been a much more open quarter than the first one overall, and it's working for Moreton Bay. Do you wonder if there was just a hint of stage fright? Like when they played them in round 1, Morningside at QAFLW level was an unknown quantity. Now they're a very known quantity. As Roy tries to make the most of a small opportunity over the head of Woolett and Lewin. Otto there to force the 2-on-1. Steps well. Looking for somewhere. Comes across the face. Finds Tar. Otto and Shane Dawes run a coaching business together. And I say that purely to demonstrate that also has a lot of brains about her as a footballer, is O'Connor, who also has a lot of brains about her as a footballer, comes towards the boundary. That is beautiful work. That was Shauna Kelly. Keeps it in, just trying to work hard is Thompson. Came off the back of the heel. Just a boundary throw in under the playing condition, I believe.
So they've been able to bring it down to this pocket a couple times now, Moreton Bay, but just not able to inject themselves into the 50 yet.
We'll see what you can pick up about their forward structure at the moment, Hannah, just to see who's loose. Well, it doesn't matter now because it's been turned over to Winstanley. Davey pounces, runs her full 15, gets it deep to a one-on-one contest. McCormick had front position, went over the back of the attacker. Couldn't quite get loose, was Ella Slater.
No, and Morningside also had a spare back there, so just really clever play from them, you know, even though they're dominating in the attack, just to throw a spare back and make sure of it in defence.
And, of course, having a spare means that McCormick can do what she did, which is charge, knowing that there's protection behind her. It's cleared by Gracie Roy and turned over. It's the first time, I think, that Moreton Bay have been able to get a repeat entry in this position. The shorter kick works from Tamaroo. Goes to O'Connor. Davey. Back to O'Connor. Needs to go deep. McCormick had front position. It was knocked away from her. They have the numbers back. Gracie Roy turns in two directions. She is a quality defender. There's a reason that they took her to Tasmania with the Queensland side. Levine clears. The counter-attack is on. Woollett did extremely well. Has support. Elects to go long. Not quite cut off by Dixon, but a good hand in the way. Levine back to McCormick. They forced the dump kick. Luckily enough, it went to Howard from Morningside's perspective. Goes back to Lilcock. Had to find some space. Found it. Winstanley is back. Has a player on her heels. Was able to get the kick away. Contested mark not quite able to be taken by Knight. Davey gets it moving forward. Morningside find a way out again. It's a long way back, but Page will hopefully, from Moreton Bay's perspective, get a repeat entry here. Picked out the teammate well. In the form of Reeves,
Feels like it's finally just starting to click, doesn't it?
Just a hint of a momentum shift, isn't there? I just totally mansplained your comment. Apologies for that. It's like, no, I'll repeat, Hannah, but I'll say it with a man voice. That's terrible, Daniel.
It was such a good point. You had to say it twice.
Good save. As Sleet kicks it away down the throat of Woollett. Trying to be a good man. Also. Just out of reach of Page. Clever little kick onwards. Scott did well. Soccer breaks out on the Riding Road side of the ground as Foxchafer gets involved. Good tackle from Scott. And then once the support arrives, Stella Scott take a bow. That was a good triple effort from her. Woollett was able to get the punch in. Did everything right except pick the ball up at the end. What a spin from Petrides. Trying to move forward. Plays the 1-2. Petrides will enter 50. Plenty of speed about it. Trying to link up with Knight. It's off target. Knight needs to get there. Check out the pace from Tamaroo getting back. Made sure the shot on goal was not possible.
Yeah, it was a great effort. I nearly thought Morningside, I know she wanted to deliver the ball to her teammate, but I kind of think she should have taken a bounce and done it herself.
If you're a 16-year-old in the senior side and you take a bounce and it goes wrong, I'd imagine your experienced teammates might sort of, put you in the shower or something.
Oh, it's the most terrifying thing, taking a bounce. For myself. I can't speak for anyone else, but...
I'll be talking to the Kedron coaching staff during the week. As Scott comes wide, and that'll be a free kick one way or the other. Has only nearly got the first touch of the season, as did AJ on camera. So Charis Tar has options. Saw Emerson Brady, who led well. Made a debut in round one, kicked Moreton Bay's first goal, and she has grown week by week, Emerson Brady, and she's just given away a free kick. That's totally my fault. Exciting way to end the first half. Morningside 5-9-39. Most of the damage was done in the first quarter. Moreton Bay coming back well in the second term. The goal scorers, 2 to sleep, 1 each to Petrides, Laura Roy and Tori Winstanley. Thank you for your company here on the official AFLQ.
Inside this building is a simulated hospital ward, a high-tech biomechanics lab, a commercial kitchen and a whole virtual home. Let's explore the new Bond Institute of Health and Sport in just 61 seconds. This is the 12-bed simulation hospital ward. From day one, Bond students gain hands-on experience in allied health and exercise science. This is the Work Play Lab, which gives students the opportunity to provide occupational therapy for our youngest, while the Activities of Daily Living Lab simulates a full home environment, giving students the chance to practice mobility work with our wisest. From sprinting to golf swings, this track can track it. Using pressure sensors and high-speed cameras, it can analyze anything from age-related conditions to elite sports training. Wow. The Kitchen Lab has solar-powered sustainable cooking stations, giving postgrad nutrition and dietetic students access to commercial-grade equipment.
Thank you.
Why don't you come and check out the Bond Institute of Health and Sport for yourself? Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? I've got 61 seconds to race you through the life of a student in the Bond Elite Sport program. Strap in. Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain, supporting student athletes like Mia. Student athletes have access to flexible study loads, adjusted academic requirements, and tutoring. The top tier of student athletes even receive funding to assist with their travel and competition costs. Bond also runs 4 high-performance sporting programs that field competitive teams. There's netball, rugby, AFL, and swimming. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Whether it's producing world-class athletes or offering scholarships to high-achieving students every single year, sport is alive and well at Bond University.
Well, the scoreline is certainly still dominated by the Morningside Panthers, 39-0 to the Moreton Bay Lions, but it was a better second quarter for Moreton Bay by a lot there, Daniel. They certainly worked their way into this game.
I think they played with a lot less fear and they played with a lot more structure, particularly in defence where you had a lot less of 3 players going for the same ball and the person who got it having nowhere to kick to. Fewer dump kicks, and in fact towards the end of that quarter they were forcing Morningside to dump kick outside of 50.
So the first quarter score, just to compare, was 30-0. Second quarter, they only kicked 1 goal and 3 behinds Morningside. So I think that's a pretty fair improvement.
Much truth you speak, Hannah Davies. On Pride Round, brought to us by, or supported rather, by Jarrah Corporate. Or possibly Gerard. We got a very ambiguous pronunciation guide during the week. I'm still not quite sure how they want it pronounced. But we've got another week to get underway. Jess Davey floats it just forward of the circle. And then strong work on the ground from Marshall, who, if she was nervous in the first quarter, she ain't now. Dixon, Tarr doing well in the middle. Brady just knocking it into space. Tarr at the back. Good handball from O'Connor that found her. Chu didn't get there before Hersey. Hersey steps inside McCormick. McCormick did well to hold her position. Created a chaos ball. Good work from Thompson on the ground. And then with the follow-up tackle. I'm not sure if there's a winger in the competition who likes getting into the thick of the action more than Rasheen Chu. And I'm not just talking about the warrior look in the last match. I mean generally. She loves the cuddles, as the female players call it.
I think that's a fair statement. The wingers tend to love getting the action.
He's a very physical winger. Knocked down to Petrides. Kicks out from 50. There's plenty of space in the forward line. The foot race is on. And for the second time in this match, it's Tamaroo who wins it by a street. Some of Usain Bolt's races come to mind. The ones he won, mainly.
I hope so.
Just a controlled kick out. Oh, and dropped by Page. That'll put him under pressure. Clever handball over the top. And Bellinger scores.
Oh, she'd have to have one of the best check side snaps in the comp, Lucy Bellinger.
There are still some videos online of when she played for Glenelg and she was a forward and she was, the young starlet of the QAFLW, kicking goals from everywhere, taking beautiful marks. She is elegant on and off the field. And you're right, a check side kick is just an extension of her personality, I feel.
Oh, that angle. And I've seen her do it multiple times this season. Like, it is such a tricky angle. But she just makes it look effortless. We mentioned before in the game that one where she accidentally ran in front of what could have been a goal. I think she's made up for it now.
Indeed she has, but no, just giving her something to complain about during the week. So Morningside not dominating this quarter, young though it is, but making sure that when they got an opportunity, they made it count. And you could argue that it was really just 2 mistakes that Moreton Bay have made in this quarter, and it cost them a goal. So again, just locking it in tight as Kaya Thompson hands the ball back to the umpire. Good to see her playing inside mid. She's made a bit of a career as a winger, Kaya Thompson. I think she was at the Lions Academy as a winger. Davey clears it out towards Chu, who's moved across to the left wing. Sweated upon, and it went to O'Connor. O'Connor over the head of Benson. Got an awful bounce. McCormick did well. McCormick still tracking Benson. Benson using her speed. Inside to Williams, who's moved forward. She was tackled well before she got the ball. 2 umpires whistled at once, and they both had the same opinion. Good to see. It was the opposite of a political panel show. An inside 50 entry for Morningside, picked off by Gracie Roy.
Yeah, structurally, I think that would have been pretty confusing for the kicker. Moreton Bay just had every forward pushing up. There was no one kind of even near the square there.
Arthur on Slater. Slater holds her own well. And somehow that's called play on. Davey in a circle will thrust it forward again. Beautiful. That is the class of Gracie Roy in a nutshell.
Yeah, just held her ground so well there.
Stronger than she looks. Blyton breaks away. Haven't seen much of Blyton today. Most of the play's been on the other side of the field. Didn't get the kick she wanted. Returned with interest by Otto. And well picked up by, I believe that's Hersey. Comes centrally, outnumbered contest, and Levine couldn't believe her luck. I expect a lot of Levine's numbers to drop in the next few weeks, not because she's playing worse, but because more attention's being paid to her. So she probably won't be able to maintain the number of disposals and clearances and contested possessions and the like that she has been racking up all year. But that's kind of a backhanded compliment to her. Picked off by Roy. Laura Roy strolls in. She read that before it was published. And the defence was standing like a couple that had been caught on Kiss Cam at a Coldplay concert.
I'm loving that reference. Laura Roy, oh my goodness. What a masterclass she is putting on today. Just moments before takes an intercept mark. And you're right, she just reads the ball so well. You know, we saw moments before she held her ground. She knew exactly where it was going to fall. But then conversely, she can sweep in with an intercept on the run.
And they haven't really, her normal bag is to rotate through inside, mid and forward. Today they've decided to leave her forward, which first of all is a real vote of confidence in the midfielders they've left in the middle. And secondly, it shows that they're not reliant on Laura Roy to win the ball. And if you're not reliant on her to win it, you can get her to use it.
Yeah, she just does it anyway. But you're right, they don't rely on her on this side. Oh, and suddenly the lights have awoken.
Which created...
Maybe there's a Sparky in the crowd that's done some work. We did...
The most wonderful Bronx cheer from downstairs as well.
I'm cheering too.
Oh dear. I've had excuses for being late to identifying the players so far in this game. They've just evaporated. Yes, I'm still whinging even though I've got what I wanted. Benson got ahead of McCormick. McCormick then hurdles Benson. Levine. Back to Gracie Roy. Uses her left foot, which is barely half a metre weaker than her right. Laura Roy enacting the Damien Richards principle of if you can't score a goal, get a throw in. And the half century brought up for Morningside with that last goal.
Yeah, the 10 behinds though, I know like Morningside will want to take a lot of learnings away from this. And I think that might be one of them. Just a little bit of inaccuracy there.
Just trying to think of how they've been scored. Two have been rushed, mainly by Tamaroo's speed. Gracie Roy doesn't want her sister to have all the glory. Hooks it in towards the goal square. Well picked off. There were 3 Moreton Bay defenders in attendance in the goal square. Not able to be picked up. And then Hewitt, one of the quicker players in the competition, handballs to herself. Had she gathered that cleanly, the goal could have been on. Goes out the back towards Knight. Quick handball inside. Found Scott. Well bumped off it by, I believe that's Otto. Wrestling is Lilcock. Brought to ground. Superb tackle. Was it Johnson back there? Might have been Kelly. Shauna Kelly. Play goes tumbling in back play as Jess Davey brings it out. Cut off by Gracie Roy. Shallow entry. Not quite returned by Kelly. Davey getting involved and loving it. Just knocked out the side. I was about to say squirted, but I've been pulled up on that. Tar. The handball back inside towards Johnson. Blyton using her strength. Marshall on the ground. Nearly came away with it. Brady with a lovely step. Couldn't get a clean kick away. Dropped by Gracie Roy for the first time in about 6 months. She goes across field. Found Winstanley. Out towards Bellinger. She scored a few from this angle this season. Decides not to go for it because Ainsley Knight.
Really clever passage there. Just waiting for the perfect moment.
And that's one of the big improvements in women's football that we've seen the last few years, even at this level. I'll continue that point after this shot at goal from Ainsley Knight. Hasn't got a goal in the Bond University QAFLW yet. That ends now. The South Australian indoor cricketer is a Queensland footballer. And the point I was going to make was the ability of attacks to stretch a defence in both directions, getting them all moving one way, then very quickly getting them all moving the other. And if you do it well enough, you can basically snap them, figuratively speaking.
Yeah, definitely. I had the pleasure of commentating the Under-18 National Championships last weekend, and I think that the girls, that's something that they're really nailing at that younger level as well. Because there really is, there shouldn't be that expectation that the women can kick, those 50-metre goals. I certainly couldn't do it. Like, it is very far. There'd be few players out there who could.
Laura Roy inside 50, the snap around the body. It happened that quickly.
So all of a sudden, Morningside just turned it up a level. I felt like in the second term, they probably would have been really disappointed in that performance. I mean, to go from 4 to just the 1 with a little bit of inaccuracy.
I must confess, I was still looking at my notes when that started. Was it Bellinger who scored the goal? I feel very unprofessional here.
No, I think that was Roy.
Because Roy got the kick inside 50, and Gracie Roy's off the field. So neither Roy scored the goal. It was Bellinger.
Oh, it was Bellinger.
Thank you. Unless they've just been called.
No, I can see it here. So 2 for the term, Bellinger.
And that one was spectacular. Kind of goal that would make Courtney McDonald jealous, really.
Well, I said she'd kick 3 today.
Oh, I
so
see.
I'm expecting one more now.
This is the one-person fantasy competition that you run for yourself out of day.
Yeah, it is.
Strong tackle from O'Connor and Levine. We get our wits about us in the commentary box.
And there's nothing on the line there for her to kick 3 either. That's just my own excitement.
Just a scuffed kick from Kelly. Returned with interest by Hennessy. Petrides on the outside, trying to make space for herself. One day she'll be more confident with her left foot kick. Spills out the back towards Otto. She's been very good in defence today. And was able to get the handball away as well. Kicking across the face of goal there is not recommended. Brady, trying to get a kind bounce, has 2 Panthers to contend with. And somehow does. Got it away to O'Connor. She goes for the safety of the boundary line, and this could be an interesting call from the umpires. Just a boundary throw-in. Correct decision, but I have seen that called deliberate by some umpires on some occasions. I don't think Moreton Bay have done much wrong this quarter. I think what happened is that Morningside have decided, okay, let's treat this as a premiership quarter. Let's go out pretending we're down by 10. Because the last 2 clearances from the centre have been rapid. And there are a few teams, maybe not even Southport, who can cope with that kind of pace and accuracy coming out of the middle. Morningside still camped inside the forward 50. Winstanley charging onto it. Case in point, Blyton in a little bit of space. It closed quickly. Lilcock tries to kick into the goal square. Nearly fell to Lewin. Messy ball in the goal square. No one really with any meaningful possession. Knocked out of the way to Sleep. Sleep has a hat-trick.
Well, everything is really just going the way of Morningside right now. I mean, they're so quick out of the centre into their 50. And just so dangerous inside that 20-metre mark.
I think sometimes it's good for teams to go faster than they're comfortable with to see how fast they can play accurately, because sometimes you can surprise yourself. I'm going to draw a long bow here. When I was learning to type, one of the exercises that we used to have was where we would just type as quickly as we could, and what we would often find is we were actually more accurate than we thought we'd be going that fast, and I think this is the football equivalent.
Well, I think as well, Morningside have great strength on the ground as well. And so I think for them, even if they can just get it as close as possible. 8 times out of 10, probably they're going to win that ball on the ground.
They are a physically strong side. It's Gracie Roy on the right foot this time. Just goes over the head of Sleep. Left footer on the right side, which may work to her advantage. Kicks over the defence. Wallace is closest. And kicks it behind instead of getting the throw in. Richards will be furious.
I'm silently laughing over this.
I just did the man thing of looking at Hannah to go, hey, laugh, that was funny. I'm a dope. So Morningside on top. Moreton Bay under the pump. They've done well there. Strong tackle from Blyton. Just a boundary throw in. But before Shauna Kelly could even think of getting away, Blyton stopped the play. Over the head of Dixon. Back inside, just skews off the boot of Scott. Petrides. Petrides using her speed. Chips over the top. Beautiful from Chantel Page.
Oh, and she's gone into the post there pretty hard.
Knowing how tough Chantel Page is the post okay? They're both okay.
They're both okay. Thank goodness. I think it just hit her shoulder and not the head. But what dedication and fantastic effort there to get the hands on it.
Saw Sky White do something similar for Bond against Southport last week. As Moreton Bay, that kick was probably only, 20 centimetres too deep, but that's the kind of area that can be punished, as Lucy McCormick does. Plays the 1-2 with Scott. Switches the play right to left, finds Lilcock. She's been an important link in a lot of chains today, Greta Lilcock. Goes out wide, was just fumbled by Bellinger. Davey clears. Chu is closest. The foot race in front. Arthur got there first. 2-on-1, but the one, brilliant work from Laura Irvin. We now know what speed she has, but it is won by Arthur. Goes up towards left half forward. Inside to Hewitt. Hewitt makes space for herself. The shot is off target. Well caught by Petrides. She wins a lot of those where she might be behind the contest. She has long arms.
Oh, it's a very valuable skill to be able to win a contest. From behind, you've got to time it perfectly.
And she was doing that against Bond. She was doing that against Cooperoo. Scored 4 against Maroochydore last week. We're about to find out the reliability of her set shot. Didn't miss by much. Just swung a bit from right to left, which suggests the ball drop just wasn't quite vertical. Five-goal quarter for the Panthers. Won't give away the other scores because I want you to watch them all. I will say it's been a fairly one-sided round, apart from one match that is happening concurrently, which you must all watch either after this match or during the week. Benson.
Assuming that is the Wilston Grange Bond game, Daniel?
It is indeed. Yeah, I probably should have said that, shouldn't I? Take the tidying up. So Moreton Bay moving well down the left and just not quite able. They've got a free kick, rather, so they will have a chance to continue. There's only one player, or now a second, inside 50, which is probably 2 kicks away from where they are anyway. And that was a good run from O'Connor, who called for the lead in front of the McCormick and then ran into the space. Didn't quite get it, and Gracie Roy picked it off. Her stat sheet would look impressive today. McCormick, clever work, just knocked it over the head of O'Connor and then kept her feet and will win the free kick. Actually, it goes to Chu.
Something else to commend from Morningside is just their conditioning. I think, again, they're looking really good for this time of year. Very fit. They're certainly going to be dangerous in finals.
Good observation.
I'd often see them. Oh, it's Jess Davey nearly swept in for an intercept there. But I'd often see them in the preseason doing the extras on the Saturday, the fitness. Davey with another crunching tackle, but it's high.
Yeah, it came right over the shoulder, rode her like a saddle. Goes deep from Howard. Also, just saw it go through her hands. And then Winstanley's wrapped up about 40 from goal. But no, good observation. They're working hard. It's something that teams often only learn in the breach, whereas Morningside are learning that in their first season. As Roy kicks out of the pack, and the mark is taken fairly comfortably by Bellinger, or maybe it was difficult and she just made it look comfortable. Either is possible. Column A, column B.
Is this the third?
Do you want to? Yeah, go for it, Hannah. This is all yours.
Well, Lucy Bellinger, she's got 2 to her name. Can she make it a third for the evening? She absolutely can. Lucy Bellinger, 3 for the evening. And what a day she's having. Again, and you know, that's a player that you just feel so comfortable when they're in front of goal.
Very technically correct player. Just the ball drop, the swing of the leg, just everything is coaching manual, really.
And I swear she just doesn't get nervous.
If she does, she hides it.
She hides it.
Does she sweat?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask that in hopefully a post-match interview one day.
We've got to get those post-match interviews down to riders. Knocked out the side. I've been happy with the umpiring today. Not that they need my approval, but I feel like it's been decided on the ground. There haven't really been controversial decisions that have robbed either side of their rightful rewards. You were saying? One-handed, being held. It's all right, I'll just take the mark and then I'll worry about what happens next. Chu moved into full forward, just bounced off the shoulder. Strong tackle, if that's going to be rewarded. Free kick's gone to Moreton Bay, and I must say I missed the reason, so Tamaroo will have a chance to clear. Has Jess Davey in the pocket. Cut off again by Roy, not able to complete the mark, but definitely messed up the clearance for Moreton Bay. Boundary throw in, 51 out. Lewin takes her own ball, then brought to ground strongly. Brady with the handball out of the contest. Laura Roy getting involved again.
And that is the sound of three-quarter time, and Morningside once again just continuing this dominance. 79 still to 0. But we're seeing glimpses of Moreton Bay, and we've still got 20 more minutes to go. We'll be back shortly for the final term here at Jack Esplin Oval.
Did you know Bond students have been in every Olympics since '92? How do they do it? Bond is known for its prowess in the sporting domain. With incredible facilities throughout campus, it means you can easily transition from this to this. Sport is alive and well at Bond University.
There's just one term to go here at Jack Esplin Oval. The Morningside Panthers dominant today. They're heading into finals very shortly, and the intent is clear for them. Moreton Bay, however, statistically unlikely to make finals. I think it may be near impossible, Daniel, but there's still plenty to play for, and I think I'm in two minds of whether the scoreboard does reflect this match. I mean, Morningside, to their credit, have been truly dominant, but I think Moreton Bay are having a lot of little wins. It's just not been a complete performance across the different phases out there on the field.
Look, I think you're right, Hannah, and we often talk about, because, I mean, you can play well around the field, but whether or not you get on the scoreboard depends on how well you do in that front part of the ground. And it only takes one pass to not quite hit its mark, and you get no reward for effort. That's
it, but there's certainly been effort there. And, of course, it is Pride Round, but it's also Women's Coaching Month as well. And, Daniel, there's plenty of fantastic female coaches we've got across the competition, a few of which are here tonight on either end of the field.
Absolutely right, Hannah. Talk about more of those in a moment as Emerson Brady moving into the middle, but just hacked out of the middle for Morningside in the direction of the southern end of the ground. As Fox Chafer working hard. Has she been rewarded or pinged? She's been pinged. But no, downstairs, Tammy Lauritsen, who coached the Morningside women's team here for a while, is now involved in the men's program. Deep inside 50, and the lead from Laura Roy. And water makes things wet. Handballs into the pocket. Mackenzie Sleep. Bit of a slap kick. She won't be happy with that. It's picked off by Kaya Thompson at fullback. But no, someone who she's more likely than not to coach, to be a head coach of a QAFLW side one day, Tammy Lauritsen. That'll come off above the knee of Blyton, so that should just be a boundary throw-in. Some good videos. If you don't already follow both AFL Queensland and QAFL_QAFLW on the social media channels, Chanel Fletcher, who plays for Cooperoo but is already building a coaching career, she participated in, I think, some coaching sessions out at Springfield this week and speaks very eloquently and clearly about it on the socials. So follow those anyway, but definitely have a look at Chanel's video.
Yeah, there was a really nice one with Courtney McDonald, Morningside captain, shouting out Bree Conan, one of their new coaches this season.
Yeah, she'll go far.
Oh, yeah.
And also Ricky Reeves, whose daughter Millie is playing for Moreton Bay today. But yeah, she's been at Moreton Bay for a long time and is much revered. As O'Connor is wrapped up, but I think that was Charlotte Howard on the ground. If it wasn't Howard, but I'll talk about Howard in a moment because she's, I think, 20 or 21. And she was out for a couple of years with consecutive ACLs and so developed her coaching career. If you watch Morningside warm up before the match, Charlotte Howard is calling most of the plays. Bursting through the middle, that was from Lilcock. Not able to get past Wool at the wall. Knocked forward by Fox Chafer. Made a debut up at Maroochydore a few weeks ago. And has looked more confident each time. Good tackle from Woolett, allowed to play on. Laura Roy, crunched by Reeves. That'll make Mum the coach proud. Again knocked forward inside 50. Petrides, using a few soccer skills, knocks it over the defence. Page had front position. Goes through the legs of Woolett. Hewitt, who I think was the one who made the tackle before that I mixed up with Howard. Tar retreats. Back to Thompson. Kaya Thompson. No relation to Lyndall Thompson. Spins away to McCormick. Got a beautiful kicking style. Good work from Johnson just to come across in front of the contest. Otto will clear. And that's the kind of defensive structure as they move out to Tar that we didn't see earlier, Hannah.
Yeah, it is. It feels like they're just tidying it up now.
And surely if you're a young side, I'll say it again just in case you missed it, 13 teenagers on the field for Moreton Bay today. And they've been down a player with Grace Pearson-Smith being injured in about the second or third minute of the match. So they've all had to work that extra bit harder. The ball is out for a boundary throw-in over near the kids' playground, which was well attended earlier today during the men's game.
Yeah, it's been a very busy afternoon here. Hard to tell from this angle of the camera with the clubhouse behind the camera, but the whole place is decked out in pride banners.
Long kick out on the full. Not even Lucy Bellinger was able to get the go-go gadget arms to that one.
But it is a fantastic round that we do have here in the QAFLW, and of course, particularly in the women's space, the contributions of our queer community really can't go unseen. Hold such a fantastic space in this competition, but across women's footy across the country as well. I think most players would agree if they could wear rainbow every week, they would, as that is a brilliant delivery.
Gracie Salora.
Just effortless.
They're sisters, so I'm guessing she's moved from picking on her to picking her out. And so Laura Roy, 2 players with hat-tricks today. Mackenzie Sleep, Lucy Bellinger, and Morningside has a hat-trick of hat-tricks. If I can just go back to your point, Hannah, I am allegedly, I'm a middle-aged straight white male who's fat and balding. Footy clubs are supposed to be made for people like me. The subculture at footy clubs is such that I don't always feel comfortable at footy clubs. Now, extrapolate that, and I think, okay, women, gay women, it's how much harder has it been for them? And and the reason I'm mentioning this is not to claim some kind of false equivalence. What I'm saying is that what I've had to learn was, to put myself in their shoes and just learn how uncomfortable the average footy club has been for gay women in particular. For most of my lifetime, really. I hope that came out the way I meant it.
Yeah, no, I think, again, like the contributions of the LGBTQI plus community on women's football are what makes this such an accepting and comfortable space for all to join.
There's Stella Scott working her way through the middle. O'Connor is wrapped up well by Scott. And I think there's a knock-on effect into other areas. So, okay, they're accepting of each other's sexuality and identity, but it also means they're accepting of people with, say, mental health problems. They're accepting of people of different races. They're like that. Once you become just an accepting person and learn that other people have equal value to you, it doesn't really have a boundary.
I would certainly agree. So, as always, fantastic just to see everyone decked out in their colours, and even the umps as well, we mentioned before. I think there'll be lots of celebrations after this game.
Of course, for those at the ground, there is reserve grade after this, which is often where you see the heart and soul of the club. And Morningside have only lost to 1 game this year as the sling tackle is penalised. So Charis Tar. In fact, I got that wrong. She was rewarded for the tackle, won the holding free kick. Told to play on. She started the year well, Charis Tar, and she's improved out of sight. Davey shoots from a fair way out. Jess Davey scores. No less than the Moreton Bay Lions deserve.
And that is just such reward for effort. Jess Davey has just been absolutely gunning it out there today. Makes complete sense that she would be the one to seal that goal for them.
I will say in this competition, I often talk about my 10 favourite clubs. I find it very easy not to play favourites in this comp. I feel better when a side doesn't end with a bagel. As soon as a side gets on the board, my heart rate drops. It's no fun going home with no score on the board, particularly when you've played as well as Moreton Bay have in patches.
Oh, absolutely. And it also helps Morningside, because if you defeat someone nil, it does not help your percentage. As Southport learnt, I think, in the first couple of rounds.
It does help your percentage, but not if the person who wrote the code for calculating the table.
And unfortunately, that was the case.
Southport won 200 odd to zip and didn't have another fifth, apparently.
Yes,
Morningside been stung into action. Winstanley, outside of the boot, was just spun across Hewitt. Knight will boot it from 30. And only because she's a cricketer, I think she's a fast bowler rather than a spinner, I thought if that takes a weird bounce and go through, I'm going to have a pun smorgasbord in front of me.
So sorry that moment didn't arise, Daniel.
I'm sure you are.
I'm sure you've got a smorgasbord of cricket puns ready as well.
That's why Queensland cricket don't want nothing to do with me. I'm here if you want me. Woolett ended up having to punch from the back as Georgia Hewitt has done superbly well. Tried to get the handball to Blyton, then picked off by Hersey.
Yeah, and I think she's given this penalty for just contact out of the play. I'm not sure what the exact rule is there.
I think you're right, but Hewitt up towards the goal square will hit the deck. Petrides hands it off. Winstanley scores. And that will please the Morningside coaching staff. Every side has setbacks because, conceding a goal when you're leading by 90 points is a real setback. But how you respond to them is important. And I think Damien Richards and the staff will be very pleased that they were to hit back within 2 minutes.
Well, it's been a tricky one for Morningside when we look at the season for them. Obviously the goal is the premiership, no doubt. But given the way the competition has shaped this season, they haven't had too many real, genuine challenges. And I think it's difficult, when you are in that position because you kind of have to take each challenge as it comes, even if it is something as simple as rebounding from a goal.
I'm just looking at their games coming up. So they finished the season with UQ, Yeronga and Southport. So with all due respect to Yeronga, they're probably not going to give Morningside the challenge that they would like. UQ will, certain parts of the ground, as Gracie Roy goes through the middle. She is confident enough to take a bounce. Offline. She's scored in more games than she hasn't this year, Gracie Roy, which for someone who's usually named at halfback, it's quite something.
Gracie Roy, is she on any, and Laura as well, are they on any kind of watch for drafting?
I don't know, but that is a question I've often asked. It's one of those lists is just player taken out in back play. It was Laura Roy who knocked over the defender in Page. They get a one-on-one contest again. Page has recovered extremely well, was able to bring the ball to ground. Roy found a way, copped a knock over the head. She'll put it through anyway. There's an indestructible quality to Laura Roy.
There's got to be conversations around AFLW for her, surely. Because she makes that look all too easy.
I mean, let's expand on that point. It's something that not just us, but a lot of people are saying is, first of all, there aren't as many spots as there used to be. The standard has risen. The skill set you need to get to AFL level is higher than it was. You've got players who are older who have now had plenty of pre-seasons behind them. Players who are younger who have come through better training than you had. Is there a spot for Laura Roy?
Well, she's 19, so she's still, when you think about female athletes in general, it's pretty rare for them to peak even at that draft age. Really, you're thinking early 20s, mid-20s. Ellie Anderson's a great example. She just gets better and better and better. So 19 is still so young. I think there'd have to be conversations or someone at Morningside who's got that in the back of their head, because she's having an absolute field day today, but this season in general.
Moreton Bay move it forward. All good points, Hannah. You don't need my approval, but...
And again, that's why finals will be so important for them. I know I'm thinking bigger picture, maybe getting ahead of myself, but we've seen players in QAFLW, they're scouted, but it is during finals because, for whatever reason, that's when the scouts really start to tune into this competition. So they might not be watching today, but come grand final day, absolutely, they are watching.
The most recent example is Kaylee Kimber, of course, but before that, Ava Seaton is someone who didn't play an AFLW game, but she got added to the Brisbane squad on the strength of a very strong final series in 2021 and 2022. This play just breaks down on the Riding Road side. I will say this, that if Laura Roy doesn't make it to AFLW level for whatever reason, she could become an absolute all-time great in the Bond University QAFLW. As long as I'm commentating the grade she's in, I'll be happy.
I had a feeling you'd have that bias, Daniel.
Yep. Chu switches the play. Not quite held on to that time by the defender in O'Keefe. Hasn't been required a lot tonight. Charge down on Hersey's kick. And then Rue was being held round the neck, but she made sure the umpire knew it as well. An entertaining match despite the scoreline. McCormick punching that away from Davey. Important. Out towards Winstanley. Forward to Gracie Roy. Over the top to Petrides. Now Petrides has pace, as does Page. Will she have the confidence to have a bounce? She kicks from about 35. Needs a leg break. Well, she got it. It's just not strong enough. Knocked through. I know it looked deliberate. It probably was, but it wasn't, if you know what I mean. Well played, Ebony. Also, that is the century up for Morningside. Their highest score, they got 130 against Yeronga, so that's unlikely to be under threat tonight. But I think they've shown the level they could play at today as Lewin takes an excellent intercept mark and will rebound. Good work from the back from Page. She's worked hard tonight and not always got the results. Good marking contest, just the chop of the arms.
Yeah, I think Morningside have done really well tonight to keep it well structured. Sometimes it's easy with these scorelines to just kind of get a bit chaotic and just run away with things, but that's not going to help in the long run. So it's been fantastic to see.
Petrides in space, swings right to left. The mark not taken in the goal square, but they had a 2-on-1, which benefits Otto. I think Otto will definitely be in Shane Dawes' top 6 tonight. McCormick tried to take everyone, then somehow slipped a handball to Chu, who then had the vision to pick out Lilcock in the middle. You were talking about structure, Hannah?
Yeah, here it is.
And the target slipped. Gave Moreton Bay a chance. But Woolett had the ball taken away from her by Roy. Goes through the legs of Petrides. And they've turned a 4-on-1 advantage. Beautiful charge down from Hewitt. Then comes back to O'Connor. She goes wide. Finds Reeves. Reeves in a wrestling contest with Howard. Won the wrestling, gave away the free kick.
Yeah, got to commend the effort from Moreton Bay, but just a few little errors here in the last term. Just not staying disciplined.
Which again, when you're tired, one down on the bench.
Yeah, it happens.
Still young bodies. Brady. Lewin tried to take it one-handed, nearly succeeded. Good work by Shauna Kelly, who's been impressive tonight. Goes wide. The trainer could get a touch here or give away a 50. Neither will happen. Arthur showing her speed. Brady just got a little bit underneath that. Knight kicks it up towards Bellinger. Even makes the fumble look elegant. Hewitt in towards the pocket. Petrides has front position. Leaves it for Hewitt. That's good teamwork. Out on the full. Is there much debate about best on ground tonight being Laura Roy?
Oh, not from me. You won't hear it from me.
And the way of the 4 goals as well. Just, you know, we're not just going, oh, she kicked the most goals, she's best on ground. No, the way she was able to attack the defensive passes, the way she set up one goal by just when she was moved into the field and charging out. We have an injury on the field, so.
We do. Hopefully nothing too serious there. Looks like she'll jog off with the trainer.
It's Georgia Hewitt, so at least it's happened late in the game.
I think she may have smothered a ball just earlier, and potentially it's still from that, if that was Hewitt that took that.
Yeah, I've been mixing up Hewitt and Howard all night, but I believe I've got that one right. Reeves. Just slipped over the shoulder from Howard, not Hewitt, because Hewitt's downstairs. Probably still 3 or 4 minutes left. We've had a few goals this quarter. Into a Morningside-dominated pack. Brady sweeps around the outside. Good work at ground level from Dixon. And the only reason she's not leading hit-outs for the competition this year is because she's missed a couple of games, but I think she's the only player to go over 43 times. Gracie Roy, who would also be in the top 6, if not second. Good charge down from Brady. And then found space in the opposite direction to where she was trying to find it in the first place.
That's a few times now that Brady has just been able to completely outrun her opposition. Fantastic speed.
Good mark taken at centre half forward by Bellinger. Woolett had front position and made it count. Finds O'Connor.
Certainly right, Daniel. The defensive structure for Moreton Bay really just stepped up a level in this game.
Tar in the back pocket. And I think the difference, I mean, in the first quarter, I think Moreton Bay were just a little bit disorganised and shell-shocked, and the injury to Pearson Smith wouldn't have helped. And in the third quarter, Morningside decided to see how fast they could play. And, okay, Moreton Bay couldn't keep up with it, but we're about to find out in the next couple of months who else can't keep up with it.
Probably doesn't often happen ever, does it, that you have a top-of-the-table clash in the final round of the home and away season?
When they haven't played each other already in the season.
Yes.
We've certainly had, we had a U clash, which was in the final round of the season. So I'll just get back to this as Morningside have another chance. Laura Roy looking for number 5. It's a 5-pack for Laura Roy.
She's just unstoppable tonight.
She's even bestier on groundier than she was a moment ago.
I know, like we'd already decided, Laura. Just thought she'd add another one.
Oh, well, sometimes praise leads to performance, which is a good thing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 2021, UQ was second, Bond were first. The AFLW players were back. Dakota Davidson and Greta Bodie kicked 4 each, and UQ smashed the, at that point, undefeated Bond. Then they met again in the semi-final, and UQ won again. Then they met in the grand final, and UQ won again. I don't recall many times in any competition, in any sport, where the same two teams finish a season with 3 head-to-head battles. Bond had a preliminary final in between, but it's Morningside with an even 100-point victory. Laura Roy, the hero, with 5 goals and 1 billion touches. Moreton Bay getting 1 goal late through Jess Davey. We'll go through the goal scorers soon, but it's a big night for the Morningside Football Club in the first week of Jarrah Corporate Pride Round.
Yeah, look, what a performance from Morningside. They've come out here this season wanting to dominate, and they're certainly doing that. I think, yeah, they know what's ahead of them, which is a really big challenge in a few weeks' time. They mean absolute business. Obviously, we've spoken about Laura, but I think that there's a lot of players on that field who make her shine as well, and I think that's been so fantastic to watch today. You know, it's really not one player, and it's structurally, I mean, they're just coached superbly. You know, we should credit Damien, like he does a fantastic job. They look very classy out there.
Couldn't agree more, Hannah Davies. I'll just go through the goal scorers. So it's 5 to Laura Roy, 3 each to Mackenzie Sleep and Lucy Bellinger, 2 to Tori Winstanley, and then singles to Zoe Petrides and Ainsley Knight. 15 goals all told. Not Morningside's highest score, but I think everything they set out to do tonight they've done. Yeah,
look, I think, you know, it is their first season in this competition, and I think, you know, they're a very young side and they're going to take a lot from this. And I don't think the score quite represents how much bloody effort they were putting out there today, if I do say so. A fantastic way to finish the night. We've got the rainbow banner coming out again. Thank you so much for joining us here on the AFL Queensland YouTube channel. You could, of course, stay up to date with the competition across our social media channels. Well, it's been a great Pride round, and we look forward to doing it all again next week. Daniel, where are we next week?
Next week at Bond University for their clash against Aspley. Aspley struggling this year, but they know how to bring. They're the one side to have beaten Morningside this year.
Huge clash. You won't want to miss it here on the AFL Queensland official YouTube channel. It's been fantastic to have you, Daniel, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We'll sign out now.